So I need to clear the air a little bit at the beginning of this podcast.
Okay.
So, we have had a lot of history movies.
Through no fault of my own.
Yeah. So if they haven't read the title before clicking on this, a lot of people are probably waiting with bated breath to find out if this is another history movie. So I want to say you're welcome for getting rid of the history movies for at least a little bit of time. I had to reschedule the calendar a bit because Tyler is
my next
kind of
four
obsessed.
Choices were basically all history.
A little obsessed. So I've rearranged. So you got a little bit of a breather. I'm not gonna be able to help you forever, but you're welcome for now.
It's like Schwarzenegger from Terminator. I'll be back, or they'll be back.
Yeah, unfortunately. But you've got a few weeks, so if anybody has disappeared because of history movies, bring them back. Come back for the next few weeks. We are not doing history-based movies. So, anyway, this week was my choice, so you're saved anyway.
So,
I'm Shay.
I'm Tyler.
And this is Cinematically Correct, and this week's movie is The Belko Experiment.
Which I had mistakenly said I hadn't seen the trailer for last podcast, but I have seen the trailer before, and then I watched it again and I was like, oh yeah, I've seen that trailer.
Yeah, because I probably showed it to you.
Yes.
Now, I do want to address, Twitter attacked me a little bit. Not angrily, I don't know the wording for it, but we pick a lot of movies that people don't seem to know about. And to that I say, maybe y'all should watch more movies. I don't know.
Well, I would argue that why is movies that no one's heard about a bad thing? You find hidden gems that way.
Well, so not everyone has said it's a bad thing. There have been other podcasts that say that they appreciate the fact that we review movies that are not being reviewed on every other movie podcast.
Well, we don't want to do all of the same cookie cutter movies that everyone else is doing.
But in fairness, I do understand that a lot of people want to listen to reviews about movies that they've seen and so that they can relate to it and things like that. What I would say is we do let you guys know about the movie at the end of the podcast. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Most of the movies all of the movies are either on Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, or recently Redbox because that is my life.
Or HBO if you have a subscription.
Right.
I have a lot of them.
So if we know what platform it's on, we will let you know at the end of the podcast. If not, I will try to tweet it out at some point during the week so you guys can at least watch it.
Right.
So anyway, just want to get that out of the way. So, Belko Experiment.
Belko Experiment, which I enjoyed.
Okay. Well, that's usually for the review section, but okay.
Well, we're not doing the reviews right just yet. So I think we go through the brief synopsis.
Okay. Go ahead. Brief synopsis.
Brief synopsis.
This movie is basically a bunch of people in a building that are all coworkers. They work at Belko, and they get locked in, and there's bombs in their heads, so they have to do what they're told, and they're told to kill each other.
Basically, yeah, that sums it up.
Basically, Battle Royale meets Office Space.
Wait, you've seen Battle Royale?
No, I have not.
Oh, I was going to say.
I've added it to the list. That was one of my notes for later. I've actually written down we're adding Battle Royale to the list.
Oh, there's a lot of movies that I've added to the list. I've gone into an adding to the list phase. It's a problem.
We'll make it easier to understand for the younger audience. Hunger Games meets Office Space.
For the younger audience. I enjoy the fact that you've accepted that you're the elder of the podcast.
Well, I mean, not everyone has seen Battle Royale. We haven't seen it. I know.
So, I mean, really.
Hunger Games meets Office Space.
But Battle Royale came out in 2000.
Yeah.
So why are we... Okay, you know what? We're aging ourselves. So, regardless... well, I mean, the first thing I wanted to talk about in this is this really kind of speaks to coworker dynamics.
Yeah, everyone has coworkers they don't like, but to say that you don't like someone is not the same as saying you want to murder them.
Well, that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it. So, I mean, I don't know if I talk about this a lot on the podcast, but I don't really have coworkers.
You have a coworker of your dog. So what you're saying essentially, because you don't have any coworkers, is that I'm the one that gets to control what we talk about.
Yeah,
God help everybody.
I'm sorry. I just said you're welcome, and now here we are.
You're punishing them. So there is different dynamics with different people in different departments. I mean, I know for a fact that when I deal with certain people on the phone, I stop asking them questions and I call back and get someone else. Or, I mean, I treat my direct boss, differently than I would treat my boss's boss's boss.
See, none of those words make sense to me. I have a boss that I talk to on the phone and text just like I would text you. Like
it's different. So my manager is very laid back, but his boss is not as laid back because he runs the entire building, and then he has a boss and he has a boss, and it's different. Like,
so it's COO versus Mike, is what you're saying.
I mean, it is different. I don't understand why the COO is in that building at all. Honestly. Why was he in the building? Because usually they have, for big corporations, you have a corporate headquarters with all the executives in one place, so they can talk to each other.
This was the only building for that place in Columbia.
Well, yeah, but even then, why? It found weird. It was like one weird building in the middle of nowhere.
Well, no crap, because that's the whole point of the movie. What do you mean? It was a social experiment where they handpicked these people and tracked them for a whole year, watching their mannerisms and their interactions, and that was the whole point of the movie. So, yes, maybe it's not typical of where people normally would be, but I don't think it's typical that corporate America has a social experiment on the people inside.
Well, I don't think it was corporate America. I think it was a weird government think tank that wanted to kill people for no real discernible reason.
No, we don't know that. We don't have any idea. I mean, it could be the Colombian government. It could be the United States. It could be, we don't know. Do you know? Are you clairvoyant? Did you write this movie?
No, I did not. James Gunn wrote this movie.
Yeah, well, he also wrote Dawn of the Dead, and
he also was Guardians of the Galaxy, I believe.
I don't know. Was he the director for Guardians of the Galaxy or the
so.
Screenplay writer? I think those are two different things.
I think maybe both. I don't know. I know he was involved in Guardians of the Galaxy somehow. We're getting off topic. So, this movie, very violent. Just very violent across the board.
See, I mean, I read a lot of that online that saying it was super violent, but I didn't really find it that violent. I guess maybe because I'm used to, like, Saw movies and stuff, like, that's what I kind of imagined this would be, and it was violent, but it was obviously fake violent. Like, it wasn't violent, like, I didn't feel like, oh, that could be me kind of violent.
Well, no, it was just so over-the-top, blood everywhere kind of violent, which is less intense than, like, the guts and horrible
Yeah, but, like, think of, like, Hostel. Like, that was violence.
Right.
That was like, I feel like I want to puke. That's disgusting. This was kind of like, I don't know.
They're shooting people in the head and they're killing people, whatever.
Right, and it didn't really freak me out or anything like that.
See, my problem with this movie is there's a lot of violence, but I didn't have any really attachment to any of the characters. Did you?
No, I mean, that's what the whole internet said. So you probably read that and
no,
took their opinion.
I honestly did not read the internet on that, but thank you for throwing me under the bus for no reason. Mm-hmm. They start off in an office. It's like, okay, whatever. It's an office, and then people start dying. It's like, okay, people are dead.
I mean, in fairness, I think that they were trying to make it so that you could not predict what was going to happen. They were trying to kind of like get rid of some of the tropes. And I mean, look at like, I Know What You Did Last Summer and things like that. Like, they don't really give you time to really get to like anybody except for the main character, which they gave you time to get to know Mike. So.
Well, it's like Halloween, which we did. You get to know Jamie Lee Curtis's character way better than anyone else in the movie. Right.
I mean, I think that was kind of the vibe this was going for. But, I mean, so you didn't like any of the characters?
I mean, they were fine. They lacked depth because we didn't really have a chance to get to know them other than watching them get shot.
So would you have liked the movie better if you got to know them, or do you...
I think I would have felt more invested in what happened if I'd found a character that I could identify with and be like, yeah, I like that person, and then...
See, I don't know. When I go into movies that I know everyone's going to die, I don't really care to know them. I'm more interested in the psychological, why is this happening, and also, are there interesting kill scenes?
I do want to know that, but I didn't walk into this knowing that everyone would die.
No, me neither. But I mean, you knew pretty quickly into the movie.
Well, when they said kill 30 of your coworkers, that escalated quickly.
Well, right.
And it's like, okay, well, then that's the movie.
Right.
No one's going to be alive.
Okay, so let's move... Well, first I wanted to mention that the song that they played at the beginning of the movie was I Will Survive in Spanish, which I thought was awesome.
Which was awesome. Unless you speak Spanish, I don't think anyone caught it.
No, I did not catch it at all until I looked it up.
When you listen back to it, it definitely is I Will Survive.
Well, absolutely.
And you can hear the rhythm, but I was listening to it, I was like, oh, it's a song in Spanish.
Yeah, I was assuming, it's set in Colombia, so they use Spanish songs. I didn't go further than that.
Right.
But one of our podcasting friends called One Movie Punch did a YouTube video where they took scenes from the movie and they put it up to the song and they gave subtitles, and some of it was the lyrics from I Will Survive, which really like made me realize like, oh wow, it really does sound like I Will Survive. But then they put their own subtitles and it's really pretty funny.
We watched it. It was quite good.
Right. So I'm gonna
thoroughly entertaining. You should post it somewhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the Cinematically Correct listener group on Facebook.
Okay.
So look for that. It'll be up at some point this week because that was pretty funny. But anyway, so I liked the music choices. I did not actually look up who scored this movie. I looked it up at one point and I forgot to write it down. But I mean, for the most part, I enjoyed the score. I didn't think...
I mean, the movie was... the music in the movie was fine. I didn't really notice it because I was more focused on the plot.
Right.
Oh.
So, okay, so let's move to the plot then. So the first thing that happens, really, I mean, the first major thing that happens is they tell you that you have to kill 30 people. They lock
you have to kill... It was like 3 coworkers, or we'll kill 6 of them. Was the first one. And they all laugh it off as a joke. It's not funny. Ha 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 ha.
Oh, right. And then they die
kill 6 people
by the chips in their head being exploded.
Right. They put trackers in their heads, which are not trackers, they're bombs. And they blow them up if you don't kill people.
Right. Now, we should mention that there is a character at the beginning of the movie. It's a new girl that you're following into the building.
First day. Worst first day ever.
Right. And you've said that like 17 times that I'm so glad when this podcast is over so I don't have to hear worst first day ever. Ever again.
I said it like twice. Mm-hmm. But first day on the job, and she's getting her company car, company apartment.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like a sweet gig.
Well, yeah, until you have to kill your coworkers.
Well, right, you don't know that at that point. But my point of that was that there is question on the internet of whether or not she had the chip, which is a bomb, in her head. Because people are saying that at the beginning of the movie, they tell her that she's going to have to get it. So I don't remember clearly whether or not they said you're going to have to get it or that she did get it. I don't remember clearly.
So I think I remember after he was talking about it and giving her the HR guy was giving her the pamphlet on it. I thought I remembered her rubbing her neck, like she had just gotten it.
Yeah, but it could be that she was like, "Oh, I have to get like something inside."
I mean, that's fair, but I thought I could have sworn that she had already gotten it, but maybe she didn't.
Yeah, but I don't know. But that does become a thing later in the movie, so I wanted to make sure we mentioned that. So okay, so they're supposed to kill 3 people. They don't kill anybody.
6 people die.
Right, and then it's you need to kill 30, or we're gonna kill 60.
Yeah.
Now there's, I believe, 80 something of them, or 90.
I think the total is 80 people in the building, but a lot of people. So they're going to kill 60 of them, which is almost everybody. I mean, that's a huge escalation from 6 people. 6 to 6, that's 10 times the number of people, which makes the movie much shorter.
Right. Well, the question was supposed to be, what would you have done in that situation?
What would I have done in that situation? That's an interesting question because, on the one hand, if you kill 30 people, you've killed 30 people. But you also save 30 people.
You don't save 30 people. What are you talking about?
You do save 30 people. If you kill 30 people, they don't kill the other 30.
Says who? Who? Are you calling the shots? Do you get to make that deal with the devil? Is it in writing somewhere?
No, the person controlling the switch that makes my head blow up is controlling it.
Right, but just because he says that doesn't mean that's what's going to happen.
Well, I can understand the COO's point on this one. I would want to kill 30 people to save 30 people because I would be part of that 30 people objectively.
Okay, so A, that's selfish. You're basically saying, I know that I would fare better in a situation where I'm trying to kill people, and if I make myself in control of it, then I ensure my own
safety.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
While pretending like I'm being some martyr.
That's exactly what the COO was doing for the movie.
Of course it was. But so the other guy, Mike, which people don't like because I think he was whiny and not willing to do what needed to be done, his whole point was, so you kill 30 people and they say you're going to save 30, but who the heck is to say that they're going to do that? Like,
you just sacrifice your soul at their bidding, and then they could kill
Right, they could come back on and be like, good job, you killed 30
more.
Killed 30 more, right. So you don't know what they're going to say. Right. So are you willing to risk the fact that now you have blood on your hands?
I mean, I would just really prefer not to get my head blown up, honestly.
Right.
Very selfishly.
I understand that, but you also don't know if that's in your control.
Well, I mean, if I'm the one calling the shots on who gets killed, then yeah, it is.
No, because you still have a bomb in your head. You don't know at the end of the whole thing they could flip all the switches.
That's true.
And then you go to the afterlife, and depending on what you believe in, what does that mean for you?
Going straight to hell.
Depending on what you believe in.
Well,
but,
I mean, not if you're doing it with the intention of trying to save as many people as you could.
That was not the COO's intention. The COO's intention was to live, which is selfish. So you'd go to hell.
But you could make the case that you're trying to save people.
No, that's rationalization. That's not what his purpose was.
Well, that's how you can explain it to God or whoever's judging you.
I don't think that's how that works. Don't think so.
We're talking about moral philosophy on this?
Well, I'm just saying that I understood, although he came across as whiny, I understood Mike's perspective because at the end of the day, you do know that there's a murderer at hand and they're willing to kill this many people. Who's to say they're going to not kill all of them?
I suppose that's fair. They did kill 6 people they killed a lot of people for no real reason.
Right, and at the end of the day, I'd like the blood to be on their hands and not mine.
I mean, I guess that's fair.
Okay.
But I very much would want my head to not explode.
I very much agree with you, but so that leads me to the question about Mike. So near the beginning of the movie, we see Mike go into a bathroom, I believe.
I think it was a utility closet.
Okay, well, it had a mirror.
Something like that, yeah.
I don't know why a utility closet would have a mirror. I mean, okay. But anyway, and he cuts into his neck and he's trying to dig out the bomb / chip / whatever.
Right.
And they don't clearly show if he gets it out or not. Basically, the people come over the intercom and they say, if you don't stop in X amount of time, we're going to
10
detonate.
Blah, 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 blah. And
he stops within the amount of time, but they don't show you his hand to see if he got it out or not. So you don't ever know.
So they show you him dropping the knife.
Right, but they do not show you his other hand.
Right.
So you don't know. And I mean, in a lot of movies, the fact that they don't show the hand would insinuate that he got it out.
Right.
But they never, in the entire movie, clarify that.
I mean, I don't want to go into spoilers at the end of the movie, but I think part of it,
Nobody's going to see this movie.
Nobody's going to see this movie?
No.
All right, well then spoilers. At the end of the movie, when he's flipping all the switches to set off the bombs, he doesn't flip his own switch. Which to me means it's still in his head. Because otherwise, what does he care?
I mean, though, but I can understand from the perspective of just, I guess, I don't want to flip my own switch. Like, even though I know it's not in there, it's like a mental thing. Like, I want it to not be, I want my switch to be the one not flipped kind of thing. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's fair. I took that to mean that he didn't actually get it out of his head when I watched the movie.
So, I mean, I took that coupled with, at one point in the movie, they are going out to ask for help. And they're putting signs over the, the ledge.
Yeah, the building.
And it's, like, asking for help. And the guards basically say, don't do that anymore. If you do it again, we're going to shoot you. Or we'll kill the offender.
We'll flip your switch.
We'll kill the offender, yeah. And so he does it again.
And they don't
kill him. So, at that point, I was like, okay, there's 2 options here. Either he took the thing out of his head, or what I was really assuming, but I apparently was wrong.
We were both wrong on this because I co-opted
You co-opted after you read it on my paper. But I assumed that Mike was part of the conspiracy because it just didn't... Why did they not kill him? That didn't make sense. And it still doesn't make sense to me. I'm still not clear. The only thing that would make sense in this case, if he's not part of the conspiracy, which he still could be, by the way. I have a theory, but, it's fine.
Well, no, hold on. You have a theory that how he could still be part of the conspiracy after he killed the people at the end of the movie?
Okay, so we'll go there. So, at the end of the movie, they pan out.
And there's a bunch of cameras.
There's a bunch of cameras, and you realize this is part of a bigger experiment.
Right.
Okay? So, this is all my own theory, by the way, so I know it might not make a lot of sense because my head goes really strange.
Tinfoil hat is on.
Yeah,
right.
I do a lot of weird things. But anyway, so it pans out and you realize that it's part of a bigger experiment, right?
Yes.
So it seemed to me, first of all, that it could be setting up for another movie. It's possible
I
that
thought
there
there was
could be...
too. I looked for a sequel.
Well, no, but it could have set up for it and it didn't do well, so they didn't decide to, or maybe they just haven't gotten to it. Either way, it seemed like that was a setup, though. And in that case, my thought process was the people in the building that he killed after he got out of the Belko experiment, he went into the hangar. Those people were also part of said experiment. They thought they were part of the conspiracy theory, but they were set up as that was their role, was to tell him all of the things and all of that. But they weren't the higher-ups, right? So that's one. But two, he could have been one of the people that were the higher-ups, and he came down and he's a vicious murderer because they're part of the higher-ups. So he manipulated everybody into this whole, like, okay, you know, you shouldn't do it, whatever, Jedi mind tricking them, making them kill people, then goes and kills the people in the outside because they think that they've got power and he needs to move on to the next level, so then he kills them, and he never had a chip in his head. That's why they never showed you whether or not he got it out, because he never had one, and his switch never got flipped because he's one of the higher-ups, so he would never flip that switch.
I don't know if I
Could be like a mole, you know, like a mole.
I don't know if I buy it, but I will accept that it's a viable theory.
I mean, you got to figure they have cameras everywhere. So if anybody attempted to really kill him, people could descend upon everyone, flip all the switches, and so he was never in danger.
I mean, that's possible. I don't know if I buy it.
Well, I'm just saying it's possible. I'm just saying.
So, what is your thought on people being capable of unspeakable violence for no reason? Or, well, this is a very good reason to not die, but just in general.
The capability to inflict violence on others?
Yes.
I mean, I understand it. I don't feel I have it.
Well, the reason I bring it up is because we have to do the Tyler's History Minute.
Oh, so we have a history minute and it's not a history movie?
Yeah.
This is impressive.
I know.
Tyler did his research. I'm so proud.
Well, we both did the research. So, anyway, Tyler's History Minute. Dun, dun, dun.
Tyler's History Minute.
Why did you need to give an intro when you know there's an intro?
I just did.
I was just curious. Okay, go ahead.
So, there was an experiment in the 1960s.
1963 to be exact.
Yes, by
You're welcome.
Stanley Milgram. He ran an experiment to test whether people would follow orders given to them by someone in authority, even if those orders were horrible.
And what was the reason for the test?
So the reason was the whole Nazis, I was just following orders, and people were dismissing that out of hand, saying, oh, I would never do that, blah, 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 you have to stand up to them, blah, blah, blah.
Right. And now this was conducted in Connecticut,
Yep.
Yale University.
Correct.
So not far from us.
No, not very far away. And what they did is they set up a room, well, 2 rooms, and they had a person in one room that was a paid actor, and then they had another room with a button that would electrocute the person that's an actor.
Not the gumdrop button. How'd you do it?
And
Sorry.
so they would bring in a person that wasn't aware of anything and tell them to push the button if the person that was acting got a question wrong. And they got all of the questions wrong because that's how the experiment was set up. And they would ramp up the voltage higher and higher.
Right.
And the person would have to keep pushing the button even if they can hear the actor screaming in the other room, begging them to stop.
Now, an important part of the experiment to remember is that the highest voltage, which they always got to because they always lost, was enough to kill someone.
Yes. So...
and the person was made aware of that, I believe.
Well, so they were aware that some people, the actors would say, oh, I have a heart condition, please think of my family, blah, 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 all kinds of things, and then...
They were told to say things to pander to making them stop.
Right. They were trying to make them stop, but very few people stopped short of the full vote.
Right. Now, my understanding of the experiment is that if I was the person in the experiment and you were the person answering the questions wrong, if I said, no, I'm not doing it anymore, nothing happens to me.
Correct.
The experiment's over and it is what it is.
The experiment is over, and that's a result.
Right. So, to me, in that situation, I can't see how I would continue on because there is no repercussion to me.
Well, I guess that's the crux of the issue because that's what everyone thinks, really. I mean, oh, I would never do that. and then everyone does it.
But I'm just so curious as to why you would do it. So in the Nazi situation, I have a little bit more understanding of that theory.
Of Nazis?
No, of the theory that people did it because of obedience. Because one, they were indoctrinated in that, in a lot of cases, their entire life.
Brainwashed and lots of state-run propaganda.
Right. And also, two, I don't know this for a fact, but I have to assume that if they said no, they would be killed, or their family would be killed, or they would at least
there
face
would be
serious
significant
repercussions.
issues if they said no.
It's not a no, I'm not going to kill that person. That's okay. Go have lunch. That's just not.
Get him next time, killer.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
It's not.
So I feel like there is a difference there. I mean, I do think I would.
I mean, the Nazis are terrible. And
no, but I'm not saying anything about the Nazis themselves. I'm talking about the fact of following
there was
orders
more skin on the game.
Right, following orders with repercussions versus without.
Right, it was more close to the Belko experiment of having to follow the orders or you're dead.
Right.
Than just following the orders because someone told you to do it.
Right. So, I mean, this was actually a better experiment on the obedience thing for Nazis because it had repercussions. And, I mean, if we followed what the Belko experiment says, then, I mean, most of those people failed the experiment. They would have, in fact, been Nazis.
Right.
Except for Mike.
Well, he did kill someone at the end.
Yeah, but I mean, for most of the movie.
He killed so many people at the end. He killed like 6 people.
Okay, but that wasn't an obedience thing. That was rage at that point.
Yeah, that was a rage over you killed my girlfriend. I'm going to murder everyone.
Right. So
which I can totally understand.
Aw, that was almost sweet. Aw.
I would kill everyone that killed you.
You'd kill everyone that killed me. You wouldn't kill everyone to save me. You'd kill everyone after I was killed. Got it. Totally understand. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
In that example, you were already dead and you were murdered.
No,
I'm going to get revenge on everyone.
No, I really appreciate it. It's really sweet.
I would, of course, protect you.
It's really sweet.
Wow,
Great.
I'm sunk.
Yep.
All right. So where do you go from there? Like that was a real downer.
Yeah, it was a real downer. So let's talk about Scrubs because
Scrubs because John C. McGinley.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, when we tweeted that we were going to do this movie, that's pretty much what everyone wanted to talk about.
Scrubs?
About him in general.
Oh, I'm totally throwing you under the bus right now.
Well, okay, go for it.
You thought John C. McGinley was the janitor from Scrubs.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I thought he was someone else. I'm like, no, I didn't. But yes, you're right. Okay, in fairness, I have
No, there's no in fairness.
No, in fairness, I have not seen all of Scrubs. I've seen pieces when it was on TV. I don't have cable anymore, so it's been years. And I just remembered that he was very mean to JD, was his name?
Yes.
And so was the janitor. And I also remembered who he was married to.
You did remember
correctly.
that.
I just thought he was the janitor, but I had his wife correct.
You said the janitor was married to the girl.
From Cougar Town.
Which was not the case.
Right. Well, when you said that wasn't the case, I was like, no, I know in fact that they were both married. I am sure of it, which is true.
In the TV show, not in real life.
Right.
They actually maybe, I don't know.
But in fact, they were in fact married in Scrubs. That was true. I just had what character he was in Scrubs wrong.
Correct.
But regardless, I knew he was in Scrubs.
Bring on the shame of the internet for that. Scrubs is a beloved cult classic.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. I wish I had cable so I could actually watch every episode and really enjoy that show. But,
I mean, in all fairness, I think John C. McGinley plays the same character in every single thing.
By the way, is totally my character. Like, I adore everything about him.
You absolutely adore the cantankerous, sarcastic, jerk person.
Yes.
Like, that's your jam.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that to you for a minute. I was about to get offended, but...
No, that's exactly what you're looking for in a character.
Oh, absolutely. That's my type. That is everything. So, I forgot he was in Office Space.
I did forget he was in Office Space, but I do remember.
Yeah, someone tweeted it at us, actually, and I was like, oh my god, I totally forgot about that. Like, oh my god. But yes. And then you found a really interesting movie that he's in that now I want to add to the list. Or not movie, it's a short,
it's a short TV show, Stand Against Evil.
On IFC, right?
Something like that. I found it because I watch entirely too much television. And I love John C. McGinley. So...
Are we just going to say I love him so that we can, like, try to get his attention, hopefully make him like us?
Yeah,
like,
that's shamelessly pandering. Yeah,
okay.
that's
I'm totally fine with it. I'm totally fine with it. Like, totally fine.
But no, I like everything he's done, really. He was fantastic in Scrubs. He's fantastic in...
He's just my character. Like, my
spirit animal.
He really is. He just is. But anyway, Before we move into Audience Ask, because we're getting really close to the end, there's a lot of movies like this, and I'm actually curious what people think is the best one, because I read Battle Royale at first, but then there were so many others on the internet that I'm kind of like,
well,
okay.
There's the one with the convicts where they're all on an island.
Is that Operation Endgame?
No.
Oh.
What has all of the like action heroes on it, and they all kill each other? I don't remember the name of them.
I can't help you there. But the ones that I found were Operation Endgame, 13 Beloved, Circle. There was another
Battle
one.
Royale?
And Battle Royale.
Hunger Games.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, what do you guys think is the best movie where people are basically forced in a group and have to kill each other, essentially? Because I would like to watch more of them. I really like the whole psychology thing and like seeing how people react in situations like that. Like, I find that really interesting. So
I'm gonna find the trailer of the movie I just mentioned. I can't find the name of, but
and we'll post it in Cinematically Correct's listener group on Facebook, because this is what happens when Tyler doesn't prepare.
All right. One interesting thing, the guy who plays the voice,
The announcer,
he was in a different movie, Slither, which is a horror movie with.
Sounds familiar.
It's the like leeches that kill you.
Oh, okay.
And he was also in the movie with the other dude, the guy that gets the wrench in the face.
I don't know who the other dude is that gets a wrench in the face, but
The guy,
I'm sure
the
people
guy
out
that
there
died
do.
that got hit in the head with a wrench at the very beginning of the movie.
Oh, okay. I can picture him, but I don't know his name.
So his name in that movie was Jack McReady. Does that sound familiar?
Very familiar.
The Thing.
Oh! So, he's like trying to connect to past podcasts. So if you haven't listened to our episode on The Thing, it is in our catalog. So definitely listen to that.
I really thought that the gentleman you were thinking of is Michael Rooker. I thought he was going to last to the end of the movie.
Okay.
Because he's the hard, blue-collar, I'm going to survive kind of guy in a lot of movies.
Well, he didn't.
Yeah.
So
wrenched to the face in like 5 minutes in. Yeah. Very sad.
Now, before we move on, because the internet has been upset about this, and I feel like we should at least bring it up, is that the kill scenes were not office-related. And, I mean, at least Reddit had a big issue with the fact that there was a lot of office tools that they could have made really interesting and dynamic kill scenes. For example, killing somebody with a stapler. Things like that. So I wanted to know how you felt about that.
That was lacking. I will give them their due on that. That was kind of there's one kill that I can think of.
Right, they just randomly in an office building had a locker of guns.
Well, I mean, it's a government building, it's a secure facility, so that does make sense. But at the same time, you would have expected some kind of creativity from the people who shot the movie. In that regard. Like, just, they had the whole buildup of getting the paper cutter blade off, and they used it for one scene.
Right.
They had one other instance where he kills a guy with the tape dispenser, but literally nothing else. Like, there's no person shoving a face in a copier and smashing him. There's nothing like that. It's just...
Right. I mean, the fire ants, missed opportunity.
Right, the fire ants on the desk. Or...
When I saw those, I was like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Even scissors or a letter opener, for God's sakes.
Right. I mean, missed opportunities. Definitely. But anyway, so I wanted to know how you felt. Because, I mean, for me, like... I felt it was a definite missed opportunity, but at the same time, I feel like if they went too far with it, I would have been like, okay, we get it. They're in an office building. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, they would have been a delicate balance, but to have some of it at least.
Some creativity. Mix it up a little.
Right.
I love that we're talking about mixing up killing people, but
Who gets credit for the elevator killing a person?
What do you mean who gets credit for it?
When they're at the end of the movie.
The COO, he put it up.
Well, yeah, but he didn't unintentionally kill the person. Does that count?
I mean, I don't count the numbers. I'm not sure what counts and what doesn't count. But anyway, so is there anything else you wanted to go over?
It was kind of a shallow hack and slash kind of movie. They didn't really get into the morals. They talked about it, but then it kind of like, okay, kill everybody.
That's just a random thing you wanted to say?
Yeah, I felt it was, they could have gone into that in more detail and gone back and forth a little bit, had a vote, or just like had more...
Somebody on Reddit said that they could have had the accounting person weigh the pros and cons, like statistically, of like...
Well, right.
I thought that was so good. I was like, oh my God, yes, please. I talk about Reddit too much, so I'm sorry about that, but sometimes they have really good ideas. If you guys are ever looking for a movie to watch, go to Reddit subthreads because some of the threads have really funny stuff.
They're fantastic. One thing, this movie didn't do very well.
No, it did not.
Right.
Now, part of that could be because it was a not well-known director. It was Greg McLean. James Gunn was the screenwriter, but he stepped away from the movie because he was dealing with a divorce and he didn't want to spend multiple months working on a movie that was so violent. Right. So he ended up stepping away, and Greg McLean picked it up. So that could be part of it.
I mean, his brother's in the movie, though. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, his name is Sean Gunn. He's the conspiracy weirdo.
Oh, you mean Kirk?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Who's Kirk?
Kirk from Gilmore Girls. I would be remiss to not say Kirk from Gilmore Girls. You hated him, but
the conspiracy guy drove me nuts. Like, I was happy he died.
But it was Kirk from Gilmore Girls.
But he's James Gunn's brother, Sean Gunn. I
knew his name was Sean Gunn. I didn't put the two and two together,
yeah.
But...
Well, they're brothers.
Well, I'm just glad he was in it. I haven't seen him in anything other than Gilmore Girls, so...
You saw him in this?
Yes, I have. So anyways, are we able to move on to Audience Ask since we're keeping them for so long?
It's not that long. And the final body count was 84, which is high for a horror movie, I feel.
Yeah, but I mean, it didn't feel...
Well, that's the thing. It's a high number, but it feels inflated just by the head exploding.
Right. I mean, I have to agree with that.
All right, Audience Asks. Dun, dun, dun.
So, of course, you went through most of everything. So I don't really have anything...
Oh, come on. There has to be something.
Audience Asks.
No, I'm looking through right now, and you went through all of it. So, I mean, one of the questions, I'll just mention people's names because whatever, but one of the questions was Danny Cordy. He said, is John C. McGinley known for anything outside of Scrubs, which you've already discussed multiple times. Mackenzie Lambert said, I don't feel we had enough time with these characters before the killing began, which made it difficult for me to care.
Mm-hmm.
So,
check. I did do that.
Oh, I mean, this one, I guess we kind of went through, but not really. Movie Geek and Proud said, I did a review on this movie on another podcast a long time ago. It was scary to know that we could be working with someone right now that wants to take us out. Do either of you have that type of dynamic with a coworker right now that would target you if this experience happened?
I mean, you have your dog, so I think that's a safe bet, no?
I mean, if she wants to kill me, she's not going to eat. So, I mean, that seems like a poor choice on her part.
I'd feed her.
Yeah, maybe 10 days later. I mean, really? She'd be, like, skinny and, like, barely walking and, like, struggling to get to you before you'd be like, oh, maybe she needs food.
Yeah, probably. I don't think my coworkers want to murder me.
You don't know with any kind of certainty?
Well, you don't know what's in other people's heads. That's the scary thing about people committing murder.
I guess, but I mean, that seems...
I mean, I don't think that... I mean, I've had those random aggravated, I want to strangle somebody moments because they're insufferable, but that's usually directed at the people that I talk to because they're entitled pricks.
I love the things you say on this podcast. So Movie Geek and Proud also recommended that if we enjoyed this movie to watch Mayhem, it's a wonderful office killing setting film amplified by 1,000.
Mayhem, is that with pigs?
No, like
Mayhem.
Oh, okay. My goodness gracious. I was just trying to make sure I said it because I was cutting off the H, so I was trying to get it in there. Okay. Goodness gracious.
All right.
Then One Movie Punch gave us their video, which we will be sharing. And then Besotted Geek just made fun of us for watching a movie that they've never heard of. They said, what now? Where are you guys getting these movies? I like hearing about stuff that's not covered on every movie podcast. It wasn't a criticism, just an observation. I looked at the synopsis and I kind of remember hearing about it. So yeah, we've covered everything that people have mentioned when it comes to this movie.
Well, good for us.
Yes. So, is there anything else you want to do before we go to ratings?
I don't think so.
Reviews.
So, you can start.
I'll give this a 7.
A 7? Why so low? Because it didn't talk about morality?
I don't know. It's just I didn't feel very connected or engaged with the people. It was kind of like, well, they're all murdered. Yeah, whatever.
I'll agree with that. I mean, I was going to say 7.5 because I like the idea of like pitting people against each other and seeing how it plays out. But I mean, like, I'm more into like the Saw stuff where there's like a deep like explanation and there's the whole like trying to figure it out, and like I just like that. I like the puzzle aspect of it. This didn't really give me that. It was, I don't know.
Well, at the end they kind of explained it, but there was no lead-ins. You were going into it blind. It's like, these people are going to be murdered.
Right, and honestly, even when they did tell you, there was no payoff. It wasn't like anything interesting or exciting. It wasn't like, oh, this is a setup for this whole thing where we're trying to do this. I don't know. They didn't give you anything. There was nothing. It was just
right.
we wanted to kill you, so
we
put
wanted
you in
to
a
see
building.
what happens when we play with the anthill.
Right. It just seemed, I don't know, like there could have been more. So anyway, but I mean, John C. McGinley,
I'll give
love him.
7.25. I'll change my rating.
Right.
7.25.
I'm giving it for him, and I also actually enjoyed the actor of Mike. I know that a lot of people didn't. They thought he was whiny, but I liked him, and I think I've seen him before, but I don't know where.
I mean, I only know him from The Newsroom, which is a fantastic show on HBO.
I've clearly never seen that.
Yeah.
Never had HBO in my life. But anyway, so that's what I give it. Do you have anything else you want to say?
I think that's it. Next week, we are doing a movie.
Yep, and it's your choice.
My choice. All right, strap in, boys and girls. It's going to be a history movie. Just kidding. It's going to be A Knight's Tale.
The way you said just kidding like that was so rehearsed. It was so weird. Did you like plan that in your head before you said it?
No.
Weird. Anyway, so yes, I know that A Knight's Tale is older, so people could argue that's history. I don't know.
It's not history. It's a movie that takes place in history, which is every movie, because every movie takes place at some point in the world.
Right. Well, in fairness, it's better than the one he had. So anyway, A Knight's Tale. I have not seen it, so attack me, do your thing. I don't care.
Shame.
Yeah.
For shame.
So I'm excited to watch that. And then we will be doing some chick flicks in February for Valentine's Day because I feel that is
applicable and appropriate.
Necessary. So those will be my picks because Tyler doesn't follow any kind of patterns. Only I do. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say. If you guys want to hear about all the things we said we're going to post, please follow us on Facebook at the Cinematically Correct Listener Group. We are there on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Tuesdays is Tyler's Trivia Tuesday. Saturdays is Shout Out Saturday. I will admit Saturdays may be a little difficult during February. We're working on that. But we also try to post additional things, like the things we've mentioned we're going to post to you throughout the week so that we're there as much as we can be. And you guys are also free to post in there too if you want to talk about the movies that we're doing or even movies that we've already done. I mean, you can talk about whatever you want. It's open for posting. You can do whatever.
Except for Freebird.
Yeah, I don't know why everyone keeps telling us to sing Freebird. Nobody wants to hear us sing, I promise you. But anyway, so go do that. We're also on Twitter and Instagram at CinematicallyC. Twitter is very much about movies. We for the most part, only talk about movies on there. Instagram is more life stuff and things like that. So if you're interested in what we do when we're not podcasting, that's a good place to go. And you can email us at cinematicallycorrect@gmail.com if you just feel like chatting, because we like to chat with you. Other than that, I think that's it. Just want to say thank you to Jake at Athos Music for our intro and outro music. And we will be back next week with A Knight's Tale.